Hey, Ranger Zana.
Hi, Jonah.
Good to see you. Y'all, this is Ranger Zana Pouncy. She's the park naturalist at Davidson Arabia Mountain Nature Preserve, and we're doing Atlanta's natural history today. So I wanted to come to one of the oldest things in Atlanta.
Great, well, you came to the right spot. So I'm excited you're here, and should we just get started hiking?
I'm ready to go to the top of the mountain.
Okay, let's do it. We weren't always a nature preserve, and so this is a great example of some of the human history of Arabia before we became a protected area.
Well, can we look at it more closely?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's check it out.
Jonah, one of the most important things to know when you're visiting Arabia is about our solution pits. So you can see here, there's a little depression in this rock, and it looks like there's this sandy soil here that is habitat to these really, really important plants. So what some people don't know about Arabia is that we have very federally endangered sensitive plant species that grow on this granite outcrop, and it only grows on granite outcrops like Arabia Mountain. So when you're here visiting, it's really important that you step on the bare rock and not in our solution pits, because you can even see right here today the diamorpha that just finished blooming. It usually blooms in March, late April. So if you can imagine all of this, just a really beautiful red carpet all over the mountain. And today we just see kind of like the seed pods that are left over, because in the summertime this rock can get up to 130 degrees, so they want to do their blooming before that time. But they grow in these solution pits, so that's why it's really important that we don't step in them. So you just got to be careful when you're walking on the outcrop here at Arabia to stay on the gray, as we like to say. Arabia is full of life, even if it doesn't seem like it. So this dark coloration is actually microorganisms that live on this rock and give it this black color. And they're actually, believe it or not, in competition with these guys, these lichen. So lichen, they are the first colonizers of a scape like this, which seems super barren. It's really hot, it's really dry, but it's lichens jam. They love it. So they're the first that come to a space like this, and they colonize this rock. And what they're actually doing, Jonah, is they're creating life here on this rock. So maybe one day in another 100 million years or so, this solution pit could be a small forest. You know, we might have some loblolly pines that would start to come.
What can you tell me about how humans have used this land?
Sure. Well, I think to describe it better, we can actually go and look at some of the evidence of human history that was here at Arabia. Davidson Arabia Mountain was not always a protected space, and it was actually quarried. You can see where they were quarrying sections of the mountain, and it splits really nice and evenly, and that's why Arabia was such an attractive location to Jack Davidson, who founded the Davidson Granite Company in 1895. This is evidence of the quarrying, so you can actually see where the quarry workers, they drilled holes. You can see, and they, before the invention of the air compressor drill, they would just use hand tools. So they would have a hammer and an iron wedge, and they would hammer into those drill marks, and they would split the rock off. It was a technique called plug and feather. This was one of the biggest quarry operations in the United States. And so there's granite here from Lithonia in Atlanta, all around, different Capitol buildings, curbs, churches, structures, and even places like West Point Military Academy, the George Washington Bridge, office buildings in DC. So yeah, the gneiss was a really hot commodity for buildings and curbs all around the country. In 1972, the Davidson family, they actually donated the mountain to the county, to DeKalb County, and through, hard work from the county and community members and the Arabia Alliance, we were able to designate this area a National Heritage Site, and it's a protected nature preserve. Nature is starting to heal, right? The lichen are starting to come back. The diamorpha are starting to come back. The other plant species, you can even see things starting to grow from the rock. So nature will find a way, but definitely it helps that now this is a place for education and recreation, and hopefully nature will do its thing, and what we see here will one day look like what we just looked at with the more natural rock landscape.
I don't know what it is, but it looks maybe almost like a cave or something.
So this is actually a natural process called exfoliation. So remember, foliation of the minerals in the rocks when they were compressed down together with heat. And so this is kind of a release of pressure. So remember, Jonah, this was all underground for millions of years. And then with the quarrying, this rock is now exposed. And with the heat, it kind of just, at some point, releases its pressure and pops up like this.
So this is related to the human quarrying, but it actually wasn't done by the humans.
Exactly. This is a natural process that happens on the rock sometimes.
I'm so glad to finally know what this thing is.
Yeah.
And to me, this is a perfect example of what we've been talking about in this episode of Living History, the intersection between human history and natural history, because we are part of both. Think back 400 million years ago to geological time when this mountain was formed, or 400, 500, 600 years ago as part of that old growth forest that we visited at Fernbank. And then, next time you're walking in your local park, think about the Browns Mill urban food forest and how the land around you that's disturbed by humans, how can we humans bring that land back to something that's usable by animals and also by we humans. I hope that you've learned something today on Living History, and I am hoping, Ranger Zana, that we can keep hiking here at Mount Arabia.
Let's do it. There's a lot more to see and explore.
Cool. Well, which way next?
Let's just head back up the mountain.
We'll see you next time.